Good evening. Welcome to the July 13th, 2021, 6:15 p.m. open session meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. I'm going to read the paragraph from the governor. This hearing of the Ayer Planning Board will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting or hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast. Unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. Zoom information for this meeting can be obtained by contacting Heather Hampson at hampson@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 144. This meeting will be recorded and air on Channel 8 and ayerpublicaccess.org the following day. Thank you very much. And our first order of business is to approve the agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz. Do you have a second?
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, I believe you wanted to change the order of the agenda.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If it pleases the board, I would like to move items 2, 3, and 4, which is the the continuation of the public hearing for Panther Place in its entirety, to be the first item on our list this evening. I think, well, that will give, and I would then like to hear the public hearing, open the public hearing for the stormwater regulations. I want to give the stormwater regulations the chance they might need if we go along on that. So that'd be my request. I'm getting shakes of the head.
Yeah, I think that sounds perfectly reasonable.
Great, thank you. So we'll make that change. With that change, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you. Oh, I'd like to update the board. Mr. King is unable to join us this evening.
And Mr. Chair, I may have a phone call and have to step out at some point, but I'll keep you updated.
As long as we have 3 of us at the table.
You know what?
We want to suspend. But thank you very much. So with that being said, let's start. And Mr. Krantz, can I ask you to do your wonderful job of opening
Yes.
continuations, please?
I'd like to make, I'm going to do all 3 separately.
I'd
I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing for the definitive subdivision, Washington Street, Panther Place.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz.
I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing for the stormwater management permit for Washington Street, Panther Place.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
I move that we continue the site plan review, air zoning bylaws, section 9.6, land clearing and grading for Washington Street, Panther Place.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Do we have anybody for the proponent in the room?
Sure.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are
Actually,
you?
I have 3. So, my name is Larry Beals. We know each other by now. Alex Parra is legal counsel to Joe Levine, Northeast Development.
Mhm.
So, the last time we were here, we had made some revisions to a plan. We'd received a comprehensive review from the DPW and the town engineer. We responded to that in a letter, followed up subsequently with revisions to the set of plans. Dan has completed a second review of that. Fortunately, the letter's getting shorter, which is always a good sign. And there's a couple of issues that have come up. I will say I agree with everything in the letter.
Excuse me, are you referring to the July 9th letter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And one of those questions was regarding a cut and fill estimate and volume. We have that. I will send that to him in the morning. And the second response was the proposed crosswalk appears to be in a dangerous location, limited sight distance. There's a recommendation. The existing sidewalk will need to be reconstructed to have an ADA ramp. And the DPW also recommends an RRFB at the crosswalk.
And what is that?
I don't know what the acronym stands for, but it's a flashing light
Thank you.
that warns people. We'll rely on the board's decision on that. I'd like to present two arguments. One is there is a public safety argument that it's a crosswalk, so it should be identified. The argument contrary to it is that there are, it's a school zone, there's warning lights. Perhaps adding a third light may make it a little bit too active. It's in front of some existing homes that are already there that are not accustomed to that light. But we'd prefer not to build it, but if the board decides to build it, we're happy to build it.
Thank you.
So it's your discretion, and I do understand there are public safety issues, so sometimes you try to err on being conservative on those. But it is a recommendation by the DPW, and it has been a consistent recommendation from the DPW. The guardrail should be replaced to be crash compliant. That makes sense.
I have a comment on that. Dan, Dan is here. If in fact we have two A&R lots there and they get regraded, I mean, I'm not sure if the guardrail will apply the same if the edge of the road changes, if the profile along the edge of the road changes. So wouldn't we leave that up to the final decision on that, I guess, would be conditional on the design of the driveways to the A&R and the approaches to the lots and whatnot. So wouldn't necessarily have to put a guardrail back if we.
I mean, practically speaking, the way I was imagining, in
Yeah.
reality, handling it, as we get in there,
We're gonna
maybe
figure it
we're
out.
building, and I asked the DPW to come meet me down there and say,
Okay,
what do you want? You know what I mean? Standing there in real time.
right,
You
but
know, what people-
so we,
Can you just, if you don't mind, Dan Mascalco from the Department of Public Works is actually here in the room.
We're getting
And he's shaking his head yes.
We're getting real-time
So,
answers.
I don't know, Dan, that the people who are watching will get that, so, and by the way, Dan, sometimes we don't stand on ceremony in here, so if you want to respond to that, and I'd like to know what an RFB is, I don't know that.
Yeah, RFB is rectangular rapid flashing beacon, that's what it stands for.
Thank you.
There's like one right out at Depot Square here, Main Street. But no, I do agree with Ken's, what he's saying there. If there isn't this, drop off like there is there, then there wouldn't be a need for the guardrail during the A&R process, if that's the case, so.
Yeah,
And like Joe said.
Just practicality,
Yeah.
I would bring them in and say,
Yeah.
do we like what we're seeing, do we not like what we're seeing, and
okay.
that's it.
And it's important, excuse me, it's important for people to understand that the two lots that run along Washington Street are gonna go through a separate process than the OSRD we're working on right now. So they will get their time in the sun. I don't want people to think that we're just saying, yes, go ahead, go and do it, okay?
Okay.
But it's important for people to understand the process too. Thank you. Mr. Bills, thank you.
So next, and Dan and I have spoken about this, and we both agree which are the more important ones and which are the ones that are more or less housekeeping. So one of the important ones is clearly identifying that the inner and outer circumference of the cul-de-sac will be slope granite curbing. That's where the plows are apt to hit the curbing, so that makes perfect sense.
And where the fire trucks will go around, we don't want to rim out an expensive tire on a truck.
Correct.
Thank you.
Correct. And I think slope granite is good because just for that fire truck, if it takes a turn wide, it can easily go up and over slope granite, which it wouldn't on vertical granite. And then Dan points out, well, that we're still subject to a sewer connection permit. And when we had talked to Mark Russell about this earlier, he said that we needed to give him performance calcs in terms of volume and head and a general design and show where the gravity lines go down and where the force main comes back out. But as Dan points out, we're still subject to a sewer connection permit process, and that's when all that stuff gets finalized. Grading and drainage, these are mostly drafting changes, and we're going to change the name of Claw Circle to Briggs Circle, and Panther Lane becomes Gaskin Drive, I believe it is.
Thank you. And the residents, thank you.
So there's a couple of minor grading and drainage comments about the rain garden detail. We'll fix that. And then under the landscape plan, Dan pointed out that one of the streetlights is too close to a tree, and so we'll move that. And for some reason, it appears sheet L2 is now missing. Where's the rain garden planting plan? And I'm not sure why that was missing, but we'll supply it.
Thank you.
And then, you know, when we talked about the original way of stormwater management on the lots, we had trip edges shown. And evidently the building inspector, I believe, prefers to have a dry well for each roof as opposed to a drip edge. So we've changed that. Dan did make a comment that the proposed dry well for each roof should be properly located away from the building in accordance with code, so we agree with that.
And thank you. May I ask a question about that? I'm not familiar with the updated building code for dry wells, but they'll be identified with a cover or something like that for maintenance in the future.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that for a while was being left out, and it's a hassle for an owner to be unable to maintain the system they have to, so thank you.
Well, it's a hassle if they don't know it's there.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
The
Until it fails.
landscaping they come in and put the topsoil on,
Yeah.
plant over it, and then it's failed and they don't know where it is, so thank you.
Through the chair, may I ask
Yes,
a question? Could you just briefly describe what a dry well, like what the dimensions of depth and width of the dry well is and what's in it? Like just briefly describe it for us.
Okay, so it's a round concrete structure. Sort of looks like a manhole structure. And it has an inlet into it where the rainwater goes into it. And then it's beneath it is crushed stone. And beside it is crushed stone. So it has the ability, there's a volumetric calculation that's done for it. So it fills up during a storm event and then it perks into the ground. So it's an effective way of getting roof runoff, which is clean,
Right.
into the ground and recharging the water table. And we had talked about that a little bit, that those wetlands it helps sustain the wetlands during drought conditions, because you know, in a normal storm event, you discharge to a road, the storm is gone by the end of the day.
Right.
You put it into the ground, and it takes a month to get down to the wetland area. So it's a good design.
And the reason for the dry well is to minimize the erosion of running water.
Absolutely.
So you asked about the size, it's got to take some percentage of the roof at some rate of fall.
Okay.
And they'll be calculated per each roof.
So it's the size of the roof times the storm event, and you have the capacity then in that dry well.
And what's the typical, is it 25-year storm event or more?
Do you know?
Right now, I think 10 is all that's required, maybe that's from our handbook, but,
They tend to get over-designed.
yeah.
Okay.
And my request about maintenance covers is they will silt over time. Things will
Yes,
happen,
indeed.
leaves,
Yeah.
pine needles, stuff like that get into them, and they decrease the efficiency of it. And it's real easy for a homeowner who's responsible for it to lift the
Yeah.
cover, to pull the stuff out, and put the cover back on. And also to inspect it to make sure it's in good shape. Because ultimately, water backing up at their foundation may cause other problems.
Right. And there'll be a double redundancy with the order of conditions on some of the lots. We'll have operation and maintenance plans of those as well.
Thank you. Other questions from the board?
Yes, I have one.
Please. I'm sorry, Mr. Beals, are you?
Oh,
I guess I am.
I'm
if
not
I may-
trying to hustle us through it too
No,
fast.
I've run out of things
I
to
had a
say.
feeling you got to the bottom of the second page,
Yeah.
so I made an assumption.
Good
Thank
indicator.
you.
Chair, since Dan is here, may I ask him a question?
Please do.
So, Dan, how intensely committed is the DPW to the RFP at the crosswalk? Is this a really major issue, or a like to have, a real need to have?
I wouldn't say you need to have it. I think they're good devices that we've found that work well, and, you know, depending on where the final location of that crosswalk is.
Yeah.
You know, just because it's kind of tucked down that hill there, I think it's good to have the high visual cue with it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because yeah.
Do they, like some of our streetlights have, the shielding around them? Because one of the impositions that a rapid flashing beacon does is you'll be lying in your bedroom after living in an existing structure is there, and you know, for 20 years you lay down at night and not seen the pulsing yellow light on your ceiling. So that's the trade-off there.
You're apt to not see someone at night using the crosswalk.
Okay.
It's gonna be,
So
it's
it
gonna
only-
be tied
it only-
into the
it
use of
only
the
turns
walk, right?
on-
It's only gonna, it's gonna, if it's similar to what's downtown, it's either button or manually operated, which would start the lighting.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
all-
caution.
they
Okay, great.
they are
Oh,
manually
oh, okay,
operated.
that's important.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
they
have
have-
to push a button to turn them
Right.
on, yeah.
Great, thanks. Okay.
Yeah, I get it now, because I thought it was continually flashing, and that's not what was intended here, right?
Other comments, Mark? Do you have anything?
I was just gonna get into the conditions and the approval stuff.
Okay.
Once we're done with Dan's weather.
So if I can just summarize, you have no trouble at all with the conditions that have been put forward by the DPW. As you said, Mr. Beals, you're in agreement with it. And it sounds like a couple, we're gonna have to wait until the A&Rs are done for the placement of a guardrail and the rapid RR, where is it written?
FB,
The RRFB will also be determined when the sidewalk is actually placed, the crosswalk is actually placed. So those are two kind of open items at this point.
I want to make a suggestion, Mr. Chair, if we
Please.
could, that we vote on with the requirement and include it as part of our condition.
That's why I'm summarizing, I think that's a good idea, thank you. Okay. I think we're done with the DPW letter
okay.
at this point.
Ready?
Yeah, please.
Okay, after the last meeting on June 29th, Mr. Beal sent me a draft notice of decision, which was based on the template we've been using for the last few subdivisions, and I want to thank him very much for that.
It was a team effort.
It was,
I
it serves,
didn't write that all by
it's an
myself.
excellent template. My staff report's in a little bit different format because we have to address the site plan and the stormwater permit in the same document, so we will be preparing a notice of decision that follows this format.
There'll be 3 different documents.
But the staff report, you know, is a little bit different. So basically, the first few pages of the staff report, which is dated July 8th for tonight.
Yep.
Oh, I see, oh, yes,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, you're
Yeah,
right,
okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, basically, just to reiterate, the planning board did vote on the waivers already at the conclusion of the preliminary plan discussion. So those are all taken care of. I'm just recapping those to refresh everybody's memory on those, and also that'll make it easier to prepare the notice of decision. So basically, what is new for this evening starts on page 4 at the bottom with the findings. And I will read 3 of the findings that I wrote up based on what I believe the deliberation reflects. And then we can get into the general and special conditions. So what I wrote for findings, and the board feel free to add or modify these as you need. Number 1, the proposed Panther Place, Washington Street definitive subdivision meets the design criteria of Section 4 of the Ayer subdivision regulations and Section 10.1 of the Ayer zoning bylaw, open space residential development, except for those items that were modified via the granting of waivers as specified above. Number 2, the applicant has improved the final design of the subdivision plan by working with the planning board. The applicant also methodically showed how their design meets the standards of the Ayer zoning bylaw and subdivision regulations. That was the last meeting where Mr. Beals walked us through those. Number 3, the provision of a crosswalk and sidewalk along Washington Street and providing deeded public access and a walking trail in the open space portion of the tract enhance integration of the subdivision into the neighborhood. So those are basically positive findings that support the granting of the subdivision approval. Rather than, so there'll be a motion once we get to that point after we go through these, so we can come back to that. So basically, the way these are structured is we have general conditions that apply just about to every subdivision, and then we get into specific conditions that are unique to each circumstance. So in general conditions on page 5, I just added a reference to the July 9th letter from Dan, which we just discussed. Also, I added a number 2 to what Larry had suggested. I added a number 2 to reflect our discussion of the trees. I'll just read that one since it's new. Revised plan sheet based on existing sheet C2.3 shall be submitted to the planning board showing the location of the existing trees that were agreed to be saved during construction, as discussed and agreed upon at the June 22nd, 2021 meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. Plan details shall be revised as needed to show the tree protection details. It should be the.
You caught the same thing I caught, thank you.
Yep, thanks. And basically, the rest are pretty standard for the, it says standard, for the general conditions. I talked to Mr. Attorney Parrott today, and he asked why performance guarantee was mentioned twice, once at the end of the general conditions and also in special. That's because we have a placeholder for performance guarantees in the general condition. Is something that we need some sort of performance guarantee. So I put the parentheses and bond, since usually we've been doing a combination of a covenant with a financial surety that would kick into place if the road work is not completed in time to release the lots or whatever. So that's why I wrote, may require more discussion. We can talk about that. So where things really get a little more specific is on page 7 with these.
Excuse me, Mark?
Yes.
If I may, through the
Please
chair.
do.
Yes.
Do we need to come to a definitive conclusion about the structure of the covenant bond before we can vote on the application, or no?
That's on actually the next, you beat me to it,
Sorry.
that's on the next
Sorry.
page,
All right.
where I talk about,
But Mr. Grants is paying attention.
yeah, very good. In fact, thinking through this, and I want to thank Ken also, we spoke about restructuring these to make a little bit more logical sense. Maybe we don't need to refer to performance guarantees twice in the conditions, but, okay, special conditions, page 7 at the top, prior to any building permits being issued. The issue of the granite curbing, that's number 1. That might need to be modified based on what we just discussed.
No, I think the granite is not part of what we just discuused.
Excuse me,
This is different.
This is river and curbing at the entrance round.
Oh, at the
Yeah,
entrance.
The entrance,
Yeah.
this is not the island in the cul-de-sac.
Right. So,
Okay.
yeah,
So that's fine.
that's a technical thing. I just wanted to, it came up in the June 4th letter from the DPW, and I just wanted to see if that's still applicable. We can come back to that. I'll read the condition about the performance guarantee, since I think that might answer some questions. You left. The applicant and/or representative shall meet with the Ayer Director of Public Works and the Ayer Town Planner to establish the performance guarantee requirements for the proposed subdivision roadways and all subject infrastructure in the Panther Place definitive subdivision and open space residential development. As shown on the OSRD plan, grading the various plans, Gascon lane plan and profile, brick circle plan and profile, and any detail sheets that follow. This is to be limited to when and if the applicant seeks relief from the covenant. So that's, I believe, something that Mr. Beals recommended. So we can discuss that a little bit more. And the only other, the other special conditions are pretty standard. I just added something about the sidewalk in B2. Sidewalk connection and crosswalk to the existing sidewalk on the opposite side of Washington Street shall be constructed. That's also referring to the RFFB Flushing
I think
Beacon.
it's RRFB, I'm gonna make that
Yes.
change, just so we have
Okay.
the same.
It is
Thank you.
RRFP.
Yep,
Irv.
right.
It's almost voting, Julie, it's almost like voting at your other meeting, Irv.
Those are the days.
So, other than that, I mean, I just wanted to, what I do in these conditions is try to reflect the discussion and anything that changes or anything that we add before we finish our deliberations. So, And then the very last page is what comes after the subdivision motion and approval will be the section 9.6 site plan. And there's findings for that and a motion. So when the planning board gets to that, the planning board can move to grant with the findings. And there are no real conditions for these since they're reflected in the subdivision plan. But we have to take them up separately since they're separate things. So site plan and stormwater management.
Mr. Chair.
Please.
Mark, can you go back to item C under the special conditions? I think we have a little problem there.
Yes.
So item C, you have a C2, which talks again about the vertical curb, but the heading says not tied to project timing or completion of work.
Yep.
So now we're talking about something we already talked about in A1. So I gotta believe that 2 gets
That could be,
eliminated.
that could be eliminated. That's a
So C2 is out.
C2, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Diskin and
Good
Mr.
job.
Archambault. I'm going to ask a question only because I don't know the answer. Throughout this process, we didn't ask you to continuously submit plans, updates. We now have a final set of plans. What is the date on those plans? Do you happen to know it offhand?
Well, I would suggest that maybe you don't have a final set of plans.
Okay.
Because we need to do
Yeah.
revisions in response to.
Okay.
But you can pick a date if you like.
No.
The most current plan.
What it comes down to, Mr. Fields, and I appreciate you being as direct as you are with that question. We like to make sure we've got the right set of plans at the end of the process. We've had that problem in the past. I don't mean to put you on the hot spot in any way, shape, or form.
No, I agree
But when this is
completely.
all done, we need to know what that set was, so as people look back to what we're doing, we're all talking from the same place. It's just details, but thank you.
So in answer, the most
Yeah.
current set of plans that you have is June 17th,
Yeah,
but we have another iteration.
okay.
I'm assuming that you'll need a letter from Dan saying we've met all the,
Yeah,
and then that'll be the date that controls the documents.
thank you.
And he'll probably have we'll give him a new date on the plan. He'll reference that in the letter, I would assume.
Great, thank you. I just want to make sure we're all talking. We have had decisions in the past that reference dates from successive copies of plans.
You can't do that.
It doesn't help anybody at the
No.
end. So that's just one of our little housekeeping things. And as soon as I asked that question, Mr. Diskin whispered to me, "They're not done yet." And he's the keeper of that information, so.
Well, we view, the final set of plans is really the control documents.
Exactly.
And so, at least our firm works hard to get that final set of plans, and then you can toss everything out because they're irrelevant at that point.
You can't, I don't.
Thank you. Yeah. Mr. Archambault, you?
Yeah, I just wanted to present that to the board, and if the board and the applicant have any further fine tuning to the conditions, we can discuss those.
Okay. Mr. Diskin, have you any? Or
I'd
any
like to
board
request
members?
that we have any comments back from
That's what I was gonna
The
ask.
applicant.
Thank you, Ken.
If I may.
I'm sorry?
I'd like to request any comments from the applicant.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Just going back, I'm working off of the second iteration of the staff report that was emailed on Friday. So starting with the general conditions on page 5, A1, in my version it references the May 20th letter of the DPW, so that's going to be changed to July 9.
Oh, it doesn't have both? Mine has both. May
Mine
20.
only has the May 20th.
Well, I did send out, after I got, Dan's letter came in, and then I realized I had to go in there, so I did
Okay.
send out to
All right.
everybody the revised version.
We'll make sure that you have a copy of the agenda.
Okay, thank you. And then condition A2 talks about the tree plan. You didn't have a chance to put that in? This is the C23 sheet.
Right.
So, a couple of things I just want to make sure the board is aware is, Joe went back and looked at the plan again. The tree on, it was in lot 4.
Yeah, there was one that Mark brought up, and then when I looked at it and I said, okay, the house is gonna go here, and it's just not gonna happen. There was one tree that you asked, and I said,
Oh,
all right,
okay.
but then when you go and you drop the box,
Yeah,
It's gotta go.
thank you.
All right, yeah, 'cause
I think we were all aware that that was probably gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for bringing it to our attention.
Right, so what I did is after that discussion we had,
Yep.
we put the plan up there with the trees to be saved. I scanned that and I sent it to the team over there. And I said, you know, this is what I thought we agreed to, so, but, you know, subject to fine tuning.
I
So,
appreciate it.
so the one on lot 4 might go?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
And then in terms of tree protection details, I think this is just gonna be a limit of work boundary.
Yeah.
As opposed to, individual wrapping of trees.
I personally don't like the individual wrapping.
Okay.
Over time, I think it does damage to the tree.
I think there's logistics to it, so.
Yeah. Logistics can be a challenge also. There's also an awful lot of lumber being used in a time where lumber's precious.
I think still in the general conditions in page 6, paragraph C1, we had requested to limit that to a single pre-construction meeting. We're really not sure what the point of multiple meetings would be. Hopefully we would cover everything in the first.
Okay.
So we change that language to shall hold a pre-construction meeting?
Sure,
Okay.
pre-construction.
I think that's more or less because it's a general condition, it kind of just goes with all of them. So
Yeah.
some ones require more than one.
Yeah.
So then I also wanted to clarify conditions, general conditions C3. All easements and restrictions shall be recorded at the registry along with a definitive plan. So in your special conditions B3, the conservation restriction, I believe, goes prior to the first certificate of occupancy.
Mhm.
So I just wanted clarification that C3 did not apply to the conservation restriction.
It doesn't give a time though, doesn't, prior, so you have to do this prior to issuance of ESCO, okay. So you're basically suggesting that you wouldn't get the conservation restriction necessarily at the registry in time for the start of excavation.
Oh, right.
Is that what you're implying?
Correct. And that's part of that's just out of our control.
That's why it's in special conditions.
So could we just take the word restrictions out and leave the word easements in, Mr. Chair?
I'm thinking it through because it's out of the control of all of us, to be honest with you.
All the easements, yeah, there are.
So all easements and restrictions have to be recorded at the registry of deeds. I almost want to say as quickly as possible with all due diligence. I mean, it's
That's fine.
yeah. I mean, you guys want it recorded because you want to do the work.
Yes.
We want it recorded because we need it recorded. So I don't think no one's not going to record this in these documents. So. I'm going to say as quickly as possible, or something along those lines, Mr. Diskin.
Well, the problem I'm having is where it lands. Maybe we have to put it in a different location rather than prior to issuance of excavation permit site work. The language may be okay, just maybe need to land somewhere later in the process.
Okay.
I think we would.
Do you have other issues, Mr. Attorney?
Just a few, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, let's go through them and see. We'll sort them out.
Okay, so that C3, I think, is probably best in special conditions B, rather than just
That's probably right.
Yeah.
Maintenance standards for the common open space is C5. And this is just, I'm bringing it to the attention of the board. As I understand it, the only maintenance that we're talking about is the biannual clearing of the trails.
Okay.
General condition E2, this is the performance guarantee. We've talked about that. I think paragraph 2 of E2 is confusing. I did take a look at the Shaker Mill covenant, which in substance I think is fine, and that itself says, like it does in the statute, if you want to substitute a release of covenant, you have to substitute appropriate alternative security, and so that seems to me to be already taken care of in special conditions A2. So it was confusing to me. I think a little bit.
All right, so you're saying we could perhaps lose E2 for the
Lose
general,
E2,
and, because it's already covered in,
and then special conditions A2 is
right.
fine.
What's interesting to me is the DPW is critical to that process as it stands. And they're mentioned directly in A2. So, okay, thank you.
That's pretty much it.
You missed a couple pages.
I know. I stopped reading
Okay.
after the I get tired. I'm old.
You're a spring chicken. Okay, Mr. Diskin, I think you had a recommendation for C3. All these restrictions shall be recorded in the registry of deeds, given that we don't have any control over the conservation restriction and when it'll become available.
I think we were just about to talk, in my humble opinion, I thought maybe we could use the language, but move it to where we talk about the certificates of occupancy, which I think is where it critically belongs. We want everything done before we give the first certificate of occupancy. So,
Other comments from the board?
Isn't that also what Mr. Parra recommended, or?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
in agreement with it.
He just doesn't get the vote.
No, but it does sound, I mean,
Yeah, I
it
think
does
that
sound,
sounds- I
that
think that
issue
sounds
not
right.
contention, it sounds
Yeah.
like, yeah, reasonable.
Okay. I'm
comments from Mr. Rochambeau, I guess.
But, so you want to move, in general conditions, C3 to,
Special conditions B.
Private,
So it's
Previous
not
to-
prior to the issuance of the excavation permit, but prior to the first certificate of occupancy being issued.
yes. In other words, everything that has to go to record goes to record before the first person moves in.
okay.
Which probably makes
Oh,
a
you
lot more
wanna-
sense than before we put a shovel
yes.
in the ground.
Right.
All right, so you're moving that to B, yeah,
Yeah, make it B4.
B4.
Could I make one quick suggestion before we do that? Since
Go
it's a
ahead.
general condition, instead of having it under the prior to issuance of excavation, we just move it to standard. And then it doesn't really have a place, and then it's specifically laid out that the CR needs to be recorded under special conditions. Because general conditions are ones that follow all subdivision approvals, and then your special ones are per
Yeah.
each one. So that would be my suggestion, that it's just a standard, no timeline, it's just a condition. Because it includes all the easements as well,
So
not
in
just
other
the
words,
restriction.
instead of putting it under special conditions B4, make it
Under, yeah, instead of
Just
being,
move it
under,
into the B.
under
Move
B,
into the
make it
B.
B10
yeah.
Okay.
on page 5.
That way
I
it
am
doesn't-
ambivalent.
But
Thank you.
And then you have the timeline for the CR.
Thank you. If that's acceptable.
I got a thought on that.
Please use it.
The language basically does not talk about any timing in C3, so I guess I would add the language in front of the new 9 or 10, excuse me, that would say, prior to the first certificate of occupancy being issued, that this would be required, so that we'd have a timing on it.
Well,
not
then you'd
just
make
a- Not
a
just
new-
a statement. All
then you would
easements
make a
shall be
new
recorded.
one that states prior to approval of.
No, I'm just saying
I
that
think
is,
I think that was the impetus for putting it under the
Right.
under special conditions B.
right, but I don't want to lose that prior to certificate of occupancy by moving just number C3 to another location.
I don't understand what you're asking.
Okay. So if we add the words, all these restrictions shall be recorded in the registry of deeds prior to the first certificate of occupancy, along with the definitive plan. And we put that out into general conditions B10
No, I'd start the sentence with,
prior to.
no, I'd start the sentence with, yes, prior to the first certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
All easements and restrictions shall be recorded, blah, 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 blah.
You got that, Mark?
Yep.
Then we got a good, I agree, Heather, it's the right spot, and then we have a good general condition, we can use it forever in the future.
Great. Future planning, thank you. I think the next one that any further comments on that? I'm sorry if I'm moving through stuff, it's been a busy day. I want to get to the end of it. So under E, performance guarantee, Mr. Para called out the applicant shall, E2. The applicant shall provide for required by the planning board a financial guarantee to ensure the completion of access ways improvements in the event that applicants or subsequent owners fail to do so.
I thought we agreed to delete that one since
Because it's
that's
A.
basically covered
Yeah.
in special condition A2.
That's why I have a question mark next to it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wasn't sure what we agreed to do as we were
Oh,
talking about it.
oh.
Okay.
I got a feeling we might, again, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
since the paragraph heading is E, performance guarantee, my suggestion would be that we move A2, special condition, to E2, deleting the current E2 sentence and replacing it with the applicant. So it talks about the applicant and the DPW all in the same thing, but it's under a section that's labeled performance guarantee, and not a special condition. Again, we're gonna have to do it with every project.
I am open to that.
So you're recommending what, a super heading of performance?
No, we haven't. The heading is there, E is
Under
there.
this, and we're just gonna move it right over here. We're gonna replace the current E2 under performance guarantee with this A2 language. This will go,
Right.
cut and paste
Oh.
under
Move
performance.
A2 to,
That way, it provides
All right,
continuity
move it.
with the performance guarantee.
Moving A2.
You got it?
Did I get it?
you're the
Right?
copywriter, so I'm depending on you.
No, I mean, did I represent your intention correctly?
That's my intention,
Okay.
but I'm just speaking out loud. and
I don't,
The board has to
He's the
agree.
translator, you got it.
Thank you.
fine, doesn't sound like it.
No news is good news over there.
Yeah, I just wanted to check.
Further comments, Mr. Diskin? Or anybody, any of the members of the board? Those are the ones I marked. I don't know if anybody else marked anything, and I want to make sure.
I did not.
Okay, thank you.
I guess my only thought is that Mr. Ashenbo agrees with what we're doing, his basically his
That,
his
Right.
patent here, template, I should
I
say.
know,
Because I know you and Mr. Archambault spent a little bit of time.
this
working
is
on
evolving, I know,
Yeah,
it's,
right. That's quite all right.
you know.
We'll end up with a better product at the end of the day. Fantastic. So,
Oh, I wanted to ask, since Dan Van Chalkworth's in the room, if special condition A1, as written, except for my last, parenthetical statement, if that is still applicable.
so we're on page, please.
Page 7,
Seven top.
the top,
Okay, yeah.
the vertical granite curbing condition. Does that still apply?
Entrance rounding.
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
You're basically discussing the radiuses on the entrance onto Gaston. Is that the name
Off
of
of
that street
Washington
now?
Street.
Thank you.
Isn't, just
Yeah.
clarification, Mr. Chair, on that
Yes.
with Dan, and I think the applicant agrees, it's just good construction practice to get that vertical granite curve in early in the project so we don't haphazardly go all over the place during the construction process.
It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a prudent, way of keeping the entrance clear and, everyone knows what's going on.
It's fine.
And that is acceptable, Dan, the language?
Yes.
Thank you, okay, good. Anything else? On that, Mark? Okay.
No.
So you had, you want to discuss the site plan land planning rating now? Go ahead.
I was gonna make a recommendation that we move this part before we.
Yeah, we could move
I'm
this.
happy to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so on the top of page 5, there's a motion. And it could be, with the following, subject to the following general and special conditions as modified at the July 13th planning board
Discussed
meeting.
in
Okay.
So that'll reflect the changes to the conditions.
Okay.
So we don't have to read them all,
Yeah, I'll just put as discussed and modified.
as discussed and modified.
Okay, let me just get that. I'm gonna have to put this together. Discuss and modify at the,
July 13th.
Yeah, so it should be, your planning board moves to approve and have to place. That's the other issue I had, is I know, is this getting a full renaming too? I know we've been calling it Panther Place, Washington
Panther
Street,
Place
but with
is
the
the
re.
name.
And
Panther Place will stay.
Panther Place is in the nomenclature now.
Right.
It-
We changed that
it-
name.
We're not gonna do it. It's just-
Yeah,
Right.
see, that's the
We
reality.
still, you called it Shaker Mill Pond, we had another name for it
Yeah,
at one
yeah,
point, so
yeah.
yeah, I get it, let's stay with this.
Okay,
Please.
yeah, I
Well,
wanted
if
to.
they're- It gets
This
filed
old guy
under-
ain't
under
learned the new
street,
trick
but it-
this- on this one.
Names is just easier on the tab.
Yes.
It gets both.
Right.
Just do a double check to make sure that Briggs Circle and Gaskin Lane are appropriately identified as such everywhere throughout the document,
Oh,
because we
right.
changed the names, remember?
Yes,
Just to
Yes.
double check that, but you know, just.
Right.
And just a quick search for Claw and Panther.
right.
Thank you.
And
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Krantz.
I'd like to make a motion that
We
the.
will for 2 seconds.
No, please.
Consulting.
Uh-oh.
We're not certain as to whether the dead-end road length waiver is still necessary. Because although it was voted at the preliminary
Oh, that's-
stage.
It was denied, so.
Denied.
Yeah, but it's mentioned, yeah, I mentioned that in here. I
Right.
noticed that,
Fine.
yeah,
Okay.
Larry, it did make it to Larry's list that he sent me, but the planning board did vote on that.
Okay.
Yes, and that's reflected in the
You want us to
report.
tell you we denied it again? We don't have to do that.
Yeah.
I'm getting confused now.
Yep, that was already taken care of.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so, I'd like to make a motion that the airplane board moves to approve the Panther Place Washington Street subdivision plan subject to the general and special conditions as discussed and modified at this July 13th, 2021 airplane board meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Cranston. I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna mention this, as you read it, the Washington Street definitive subdivision plan.
Oh, let me reread.
I'm gonna add
it.
back in the word definitive,
Yes,
please.
let me reread this, please. I make a motion, the air planning board move to approve the Panther Place Washington Street definitive subdivision plan, subject to the general and special conditions as discussed and modified at the July 13th, 2021 air planning board meeting.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on this?
Do we have to add into the language, and again, I'll ask Mr. Ashenbo about this. It just said, the motion just included the word plan. Do we have to include the word plan and related documents that were submitted as part of the application?
I don't think so, I think.
Okay, so
plan
it's considered to be
subsumes
total
everything.
with the word plan?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, plan includes all documentation.
Plan plus details and stuff like that.
Related to the plan.
Okay,
They'll even have a new page, C2.3.
all right, good.
Right,
Just want to make sure the plan includes
Thank you.
all
yes,
the approved documents.
all the documentation that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. We call that unanimous. Mr. Krantz, or Mr. Archambault, excuse me.
Yep, and then on page 8, the land, section 9.6, and stormwater management permit motions.
Is it as simple as just reading, I'd like to.
Yeah, you could just
Yep.
read the whole thing, even read the findings and see if.
Oh, okay. I'll include the, you read the findings first?
Sure.
We find, the planning board finds that the applicant has met the site plan criteria of section 9.6.2D of the air zoning bylaw, whose aim is to reduce negative impacts resulting from land alteration during development. Should I read the, yep. Review standards of air zoning bylaw, section 9.6.2D include minimize site alteration and land clearing, protect wildlife habitat, protect understory vegetation, employ proper site management techniques during construction, and protect the site during construction through adequate erosion and sedimentation control.
Thank you.
I suggest that the air planning board move to grant site plan approval under section 9.6 to the Panther Place Washington Street subdivision.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you, Mr. Diskin. Any discussion on this item amongst the board? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And I think the third one to close out is a stormwater management permit.
Anything I need to do before reading? Okay.
No.
The planning board finds that the applicant has met the standards for the granting of a stormwater management permit for a major project pursuant to AIR's construction stormwater bylaw. The air planning board therefore moves to approve such stormwater management permit as submitted for the Panther Place Washington Street subdivision.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Thank you for the second. Any discussion on this item amongst the board? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we need to close all
We
three?
need to close all three hearings.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz.
Need a
This might
motion
be the
for
last
each
time
one?
you've discussed
A
this
motion
for a while.
Each individually, Heather?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
All right, let me.
Sorry, we should have done
No,
those
I
after you've
just-
moved
No,
on
no,
all
it's all right, I'm
things,
just
but
looking
that's
for the
fine.
right language. I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing for, to close the public hearing for the definitive subdivision, Washington Street, Panther Place.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz?
I make a motion that we close the public hearing for the stormwater management permit, Washington Street, Panther Place.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And you're all set, because there's no public hearing for the site plan.
It's okay.
What's a public meeting?
Yeah, but it doesn't need to be,
Doesn't need to be closed.
9/6, 9/30?
it's not a public hearing.
Okay,
All right.
When you close the meeting, you close them.
so we're done?
It's not been continued, it's gone.
All right.
Wait, close it.
Congratulations.
Thank you all very much.
Hold on. Hey, we have a question here. I'm sorry.
So Heather, you said that we don't have to close the other hearings?
You have, it's
Your meetings?
site plan is not a public hearing.
Site plan review.
Site plan review is not a public hearing, it's a public meeting. So if it's not
I thought it was a
continued,
public hearing, that's why we
It's
were
a-
continuing it.
It's a meeting, yeah, it's a sort of.
It's not going to hurt to have a
I was
motion.
gonna say, let's do
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
let's
ask you
just
to
do
make a
it.
motion,
I'm gonna make
Mr.
a motion.
Krantz,
All right, I'm gonna
because
do it.
these guys are great, but I don't want to bring them back here
All
for
right,
this,
I
okay?
make a motion that we close the site plan review for air zoning bylaw, section 9.6, land clearing and grading, Washington Street, Panther Place.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Thank you. Thank you. Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this? We'll talk about the details of it later. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We've got a little bit of work to do to get the documents
Oh, yeah,
finalized.
yeah.
I will, just so you, I'm sorry?
I just want to thank the board for all the work on this. This has been a really productive process. I thought we came in with a good plan originally, but you guys have helped us make it better. I gotta tell you, I meet with a lot of planning boards, and this is one of the better planning boards I've ever worked with, so I'd like to take credit for the plan, but I think a lot of credit, I think this is truly a team effort, so thank you very much for all that.
I appreciate that. And I'll speak on behalf of myself and possibly the board. Few proponents come to planning boards willing to work with them and actually come with the experience that you guys came with. We have a great deal of respect for what you all bring to the table, and I think we're gonna end up with a pretty good product here for the town.
I think so.
And you know, I'm gonna say it again. A heck of a lot of green space got saved.
Yes,
We're gonna end up
it
with a really nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
What looks to be a really great neighborhood for the town.
Good.
So thank you very much for being, and we're gonna save, I forgot the number of trees, but we're gonna save a bunch.
Thousands.
And we laugh about trees, but that's critical.
Actually,
You can drive through neighborhoods in this town and wonder what happened.
You bet.
And 15 years later, people are unhappy with what they have. So I do appreciate your patience with that. Miss-
I just hope you can pass on the thank yous. You had quite a bit of attendance on all our Zoom meetings over the past few months, and everyone was very helpful.
Yeah,
So-
yeah,
Thank you.
it was good, thanks.
So that the proponent knows, I am doing a fair amount of traveling these days. So when these documents are ready for signatures and stuff, we'll get them done.
Great,
You get them to us and we'll get them done.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much. Appreciate it.
You can pass on the keyboard, I think it'd be great if we can.
Okay, great. Thank
While
you all.
While you're doing that.
Yes.
If anyone
Sure.
needs
We're
copies,
gonna
I
do
have,
this.
I printed a couple of minutes over.
Anyone?
Yes, Mr. Krantz.
While Mark is getting it set up, would it make sense for me to read the public hearing opening document?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. And I also, yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. This is the announcement for the public hearing, revised stormwater management regulations. Pursuant to the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 81B, and the Massachusetts Clean Waters Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 21, Section 21 through 53, the Air Planning Board will hold a public hearing at 6:15 p.m. on Tuesday, July 13, 2021, in the Select Board's meeting room of the Air Town Hall to adopt revised stormwater management regulations and a stormwater management permit application form. These regulations are in support of the town's obligations under the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, NIPD's Phase 2 Stormwater Program, and pursuant to Town Bylaws Article 46, NIPD's Phase 2 Stormwater Bylaw, and Article 40, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Pursuant to Town Bylaws, Article 47, NIPD's Phase 2 Stormwater Bylaw, and Article 48, illicit discharges to the Municipal Storm Drain Systems Bylaw. These stormwater regulations address definitions of and standards for the review of minor and major projects, designate a stormwater authority and agent, provide submittal requirements for minor and major applications, standards for operation and maintenance plans and provisions for inspections and the issuance of permits, allowable discharges to the municipal storm drain system, authorization to discharge to the municipal storm drain system, and other details related to the administration of the regulations. The revised proposed stormwater regulations can be mailed or emailed by contacting the Planning Board office at 978-772-8220, extension 144, or at hhampson@ayer.ma.us. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed plan is advised to call or email the Planning Board office by July 9th, 2021, or are free to call into the meeting that will be live streamed on APAC. There will be a phone number provided on the screen during the meeting, signed, Ayer Planning Board.
Riveting, thank you.
Thank
The
you.
only one that's probably decided.
copy?
I got it, thank you.
Okay.
Welcome, Dan.
Hey.
Thank you very much for putting up with being moved on the agenda.
No, that's okay. I was gonna stick around for it after anyway, so I didn't. Yeah, no problem.
No, it's just, it just seemed to make sense to get them out of the way so we can really dig in on this if we need to.
Yeah,
'Cause
sounds good.
I know we don't have a limit to our time, but I do have a limit to the patience of the people in the room, so.
Yeah. All right, so stormwater bylaws and regulations. So I put together a quick PowerPoint just to give a background of how we got to where we're at right now. And if you'll remember, we were here, it was almost, was it August
Yeah, it was
2020?
last year.
Yeah.
That's a while ago.
Yeah, that we were approving the regulations back then. So we're back to amend them to meet our new stormwater MS4 permit, basically. So I think everyone knows what an MS4 permit is. Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System is the 4 S's. But basically, EPA and DEP regulate discharges from our drain system in town, and DPW is in charge of meeting those regulations for the town. So the original MS4 permit was issued in 2003, and a new permit became effective July 1st of 2018. So there's a bunch of criteria to meet in that new permit, and one of them is updating our stormwater bylaw and regulations to meet some new requirements.
The exciting part of your job.
Yeah, you got it. Yep. No. So, like Jonathan mentioned in the opening, there's 2 bylaws that we have. Article 47, which is NIPD's Phase 2 Stormwater Bylaw. And that bylaw focuses on construction and post-construction stormwater management. And we have an Article 48 town bylaw for illicit discharges to the municipal storm drain system to eliminate those. So the MS4, the way it's structured, there's 6 minimum control measures that we have to meet the permit. And numbers 3, 4, and 5 are where these bylaws and the regulations come from to meet those parts of the permit: the illicit discharge, construction, site stormwater runoff control, stormwater management, and new development and redevelopment. So,
May I ask a question? Do you mind if we interrupt you to ask questions?
no, go ahead.
Illicit discharge detection sounds like something like really bad.
Yeah. So
Am I correct in saying that would be a roof drain runoff that's connecting directly to a stormwater system, or what is
not
illicit?
necessarily anything other than stormwater going down the drain.
Okay.
So basically, you should only have stormwater in your
So
system.
you're pumping out your basement into the drain system, that's not right. You gotta find that.
It can be okay. It's in our bylaw, Article 48. It is allowable. There are allowable non-stormwater discharges, and I believe that's one of them.
Yeah.
Like one thing we do we have an IDDE program where we go out and we do dry weather and wet weather sampling. So for example, dry weather, we go out to all the outfalls in town and check for flow. It shouldn't be flowing when it's dry.
Yeah.
Lately there's groundwater flow, so everything's
It's gonna flow for a while. It's gonna
yeah,
flow
it's
for a
never gonna
while.
stop. But
Example of that would be a cooling tower that's discharged into a sewer system or something, a cooling tower.
Oh.
Producing,
You're right, that's not,
Yeah, I don't think
could,
that's
could
for
be-
both.
I just,
condensation, I think that is allowed, but anyway, that's kind of.
the question is illicit discharge, it's not
It's
like
illicit
some
discharge.
illegal,
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be.
Yeah, so we'll.
it's not an illegal, well, go ahead.
Yeah. So the example of dry weather, we find flow at an outfall during dry weather, so we'll sample it and check for, surfactants like soaps, detergents, and we'll check for bacteria. And then if we get hits on that, we chase it upstream in our system to try to find where it's coming from. So sometimes, like when I worked in Revere, when I was at CDM, we found a few laterals from houses connected into the storm drains and stuff like that.
Just what
But
you want.
you don't really find, there hasn't been much here. We found, before I was here, it was actually the other way around. There was a catch basin connected to the sewer system down near Nemco Way, but anyways.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah,
Just
so anything.
illicit
You only
discharge
want
as
rain
in
down the
spooky.
drain. You only want rain down the drain. So this is kind of just repeating what I just said. MCMs 3, 4, and 5 minimum control measures are what drive this. But if you look at under MCM 5, it lists kind of some of the criteria in the MS4 permit. If there's 1 acre of disturbance, that's what's required by the MS4 permit. We actually go a little more stringent than that with our thresholds. And there's a few other items in there. I'll get more into them. So background, we kind of talked about this a bit, but 2003, the first permit was issued by EPA and DEP. In 2008, our original bylaws were adopted. In 2010, there was some minor changes to those bylaws. And then in 2018, we got the new permit issued. For some reason, we never had regulations adopted. I found draft versions of them, but I couldn't find any record of them being adopted. So in 2020 was when we adopted those. And now, this past April, the bylaws were amended at town meeting to meet the new MS4 permit. And I'll kind of get into a little bit of what we did there. So we had consulting help from a firm that was hired by our Central Mass Stormwater Coalition that we're a part of. Arcadis is the firm. And we established a work group to collaborate on the revisions. They passed the town meeting. So the consultant, Arcadis, what they did for the Central Mass Regional Stormwater Coalition was they looked at all the towns and reviewed every town's bylaw for current compliance with the latest MS4 permit. And then they prepared a recommendations memo of what we need to do to meet the bylaw and to meet the permit in our bylaw and regulations. They also ended up preparing templates for us to use, of template bylaws and template regulations.
Is it getting to the point where bylaws from town to town are starting to look alike?
It's similar, but every town is unique.
Yeah, but it's helpful.
It definitely, yeah. So it did actually, I thought, going into this, I thought it would be pretty hard for them to put something together to be sort of template for each town, but they pretty much threw the kitchen sink at you in the template, so you would delete a bunch of things if it didn't apply
That was
to you.
one of the struggles with the zoning bylaw we want to be right. Our old one was so convoluted.
Yeah.
A large part of the help we got from the consultant was how to organize it. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the work group got established to collaborate on these changes, and myself from DPW, Joanne from Conservation was part of it. Ken and Mark both helped from the planning board end, and we had a resident as well who was also an engineer, Andrea is her name. She's from, what's the firm she's at? It's in Westford. It's not coming to me right now. But the work group collaborated on all these over Zoom, and we got it done. So some of the key elements is kind of, we don't have to get too into this, that we looked at, but we looked at thresholds, who the land disturbance thresholds, of revising those, and who the authority should be. We also added enforcement, which I'll get into later, which we didn't have that previously in our regulations. So we didn't change much of the structure to our bylaws. They were already pretty much as the way that's shown up here, where the bylaw basically gives you legal authority and you keep technical requirements and procedural requirements in the regulations, so those are easily changed. So we can change our design criteria when we want, we can change fees, we can change how many sets of plans we need, what types of plans, that's all in the regulations. So that's kind of how it's set up. So there's a quick summary of what we did for Article 47. So this is construction, post-construction, stormwater bylaw. These are the changes we had. We added thresholds and permit requirements if somebody's discharging with a Zone 2 critical area. So that's an area of groundwater protection around a public water supply. And those are mapped by DEP, so we have those for ours public water supply in town. And then we also added impaired water bodies, discharges directly or indirectly to those is how it's worded. We revised our land disturbance thresholds triggering a stormwater permit. We changed the minimum threshold to 20,000 square feet from 40,000. And then we added a few,
Could you just remind me, what is the square footage of an acre?
43,000-ish,
Okay,
560.
So what Dan's quoting is what a real acre is, but in the world of real estate, we use 40,000 and 20,000 is half and full acre.
That's what I was wondering. So
Yeah.
you're saying half
Oh, there you
acre,
go.
from an
Yeah.
acre to half acre?
That's
In
basically
fact,
It's,
Yeah.
it's basically, yeah.
Got
Yeah,
Assessors and engineers use the real numbers, 42,000, whatever it was.
560. Yeah.
560, you know. How
I
many
don't know why.
cities- how many cities and towns are there? More than 300, but yeah.
Yeah. So we added a few more land disturbances, which we thought would be good.
Yeah, I'm just curious about the cubic yards. Whose idea was the cubic yard disturbance?
The volumes,
Yeah, the
that
volume
was
is one.
original to the 2008 bylaw, and we
Really?
didn't change that. We didn't find a need,
I wouldn't
We
change,
didn't
just
delve
curious.
into it much,
It's another
but-
way of thinking about it. Because
Yeah.
We think of land disturbance as cutting off the top, not necessarily.
Right, just
straight
looking
down.
two-dimensionally, but
Exactly, yeah.
right, yeah. So without going too deep in this, we did move the minor and major project distinction from the bylaw to the regulations.
Got it,
So
right.
just in the bylaw, it notes the land disturbance thresholds, and then when we get to the regulations, we hash out
Mhm.
the differences between those types of permits.
And again, Dan, just for my clarity, when you say something, like add 30% net increase in impervious area on lot with at least 5,000 square feet of existing impervious area, we're anticipating something like someone expanding a driveway, for example, that kind of a situation?
Yeah, and when we start out with 5,000 square feet, that's quite a bit of impervious area
Yes.
already. Almost all houses don't have that much on their lot. We have
Go ahead.
yeah, because from when we looked at doing a stormwater utility, when we basically had one, and we don't anymore, we actually had a consultant put together a impervious area per lot GIS plan. So I was able to go in and utilize that to
Wow.
look into, what each lot has for impervious square footage. So it's basically if somebody already has a lot of impervious and they're gonna add a significant amount more, or, a decent amount more, 30% net increase, we wanna have a permit for that, just to, it could be a minor permit. Yeah, exactly. Why are you just paving every now?
That drawing that Dan produced that showed the amount of impervious was pretty eye-opening.
Yes.
In its density. I think the big intent that we talked about with the work group was there's a lot of density already in certain parts of town, like downtown already.
Yeah.
And we're trying to conserve that and hold on to that open space
Exactly.
where we have a little open space here and there, not just let it
Yeah.
go uncontrolled.
And we're joking about impervious, talking about paving, but rooftops are impervious surfaces.
Right.
Correct.
Even,
Good
even, quote unquote pervious surfaces, but if they're man-installed, are considered impervious. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we define it, and I think that's right, but
Yeah.
we do define it.
But
in
the bottom line
bylaw.
is
Yeah.
to not create a situation where everything that falls sheets off and goes somewhere.
Yes, and I actually applaud you for including this because I have seen the consequences of indiscriminate increases of impervious area that did have enormous consequences on the safety of the road where the water was dumped. So
Yeah.
I think this is a really good change.
Yeah, so the next one was, we added land disturbance in the Zone 2 or the impaired water bodies. A 2,000 square foot minimum was our starting
Mhm.
in those sensitive areas. And then just kind of to blanket it, anytime there's a site plan review or subdivision control, we said you have to submit a stormwater permit, even though they probably are already, maybe not necessary for site plan review, but. Okay, so that's what Article 47, those were the big changes in the bylaw. Article 48 basically stayed the same. We added 2 items to the allowable non-stormwater discharge list. And then allowed DPW director and/or planning board to adopt regulations. And the reason we did that was because we currently have one regulation document, and we want to kind of keep it standalone. We don't want to have 2 separate stormwater regulation documents, one for Article 48, one for Article 49. Have them all in one. Even though DPW really handles the illicit discharge, it's laid out in the bylaw, DPW's authority directs. We, now planning board can adopt both of these at the same time. That's why we're here
We could actually sing from the same songbook.
There you go. So revisions to the stormwater regs that we're looking at tonight. So I updated the August 2020 regulations with design standards, including the requirements in the 2018 MS4 permit. Procedural changes, I'm going to get into these. Included regulations for illicit discharge bylaw. We didn't have any before this. So there's a whole new section for those. The work group went over these on June 8th, and then I incorporated changes from discussions with the work group. So here's a brief of the technical changes to the regulations from the August 2020 to the current proposed regulations. So previously, all that we had was design standards must meet Massachusetts stormwater standards. It was essentially all we said, and it was a 1 paragraph long. So now we devoted an entire section, 2.8, to design standards, which lays out the storm events that must be designed for. Low impact site development must be done or utilized to maximum extent feasible. That's a requirement in the new MS4 permit. We added TMDL impaired water bodies, BMPs optimized for those. So for example, like Nashua River has a phosphorus impairment. So if somebody's going to be discharging in that area, or indirectly or directly to the Nashua River, they'd have to have a BMP that reduces phosphorus.
Good. BMP stands for?
Oh, best practice.
Practice.
And TMDL?
Total maximum daily load.
Thank you.
Which there's not in town. There's actually no water bodies that have a TMDL, but there's some that need to get one. They're labeled as needs to be assigned.
And when they're established, this
Then
lines
this
up with
would-
that.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
So design infiltration inflow to follow Mass stormwater standards. Routine. So a bunch of these are just required by the 2018 permit.
And this is the work you do when you review plans?
Yeah, so this is just, if you want to go to sleep, you can read section 2.8. No, it's not design standards. Procedural changes to the regulations. So at stormwater agents, we added the building department, conservation commission, and board of health. We already had the DPW, but it's whoever the planning board delegates is the stormwater. So we just added those in there to have extra. I know, Charlie's always out at sites looking at them, and when we lower these limits, we're probably going to have more stormwater permits. We're hoping, because we don't get much at all at the 40,000 limit. Minor and major project thresholds. Insert threshold changes in bylaw. I was talking about there. In the regulations. Minor projects use section 2.8 designs. So minor projects, section 2.8, the design standards are used as guidance for a minor project. That's the way we set it up, unless the authority determines otherwise. That's how we worded it. So the planning board could say you need to submit for a major project, because a major project has to meet all these design standards, which require calculations, PE stamp, design plans. So, if somebody's doing a small project in their backyard that somehow triggers stormwater permits, a minor permit, we don't want to force them.
We don't want to burden them with it.
Yeah.
But if somebody's starting to do a project now that may actually turn into a growing project, like we have our Nemco way now, it's nice to have the forethought.
Right.
For it.
It leaves that opening to be able to upgrade.
Because Tanya's done a really good job of putting together a plan, and that's an amazing plan they've got. But this would capture that if they if they came to us years ago, this would capture their future also.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Then we added an enforcement section, so that.
So I mean, you guys did get to carry,
Yeah.
carry ticket books?
Yeah, we're definitely public safety. So we added an enforcement section and a waivers section as well. Illicit discharge regulations, these are an entirely new section. You know, I basically used the template from Arcadis and took what applied to Ayer. And you know, these are really related to DPW. And like I said, we added these regulations for illicit discharge into this document to be one standalone document, so we don't have two separate stormwater regs floating around.
We did talk about that too. I think you brought that up as a discussion along the way, right, with the work group. That should we have two or should we have one?
Yeah, we went through it and we
around
decided
a
that,
little bit.
you know, it's
Yeah.
best to keep it as one, and that's why we did this. The stormwater permit application form, I have these, I can put them up on Monoped, but basically all we did
We
was
have it in front of
revise.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the general public, it's not a blank screen. They're actually pretty.
Yeah, so we revised the checklist, the thresholds in the checklist to match our bylaw and regulations. It's basically a change there.
And the project fees are not that bad. We discussed this before. Last time you were before us, in the Zoom meeting, we discussed, I believe we discussed.
Yeah, you're right.
Pricing and
We
stuff.
hashed them out, and
Yeah,
yeah,
we
it seemed to
hashed-
work all right with
Yeah,
the
that's, you know, it's a
one
habit.
we got for
It's-
the last project, Panther Place. Yeah.
Until we
For a
first
major
figure where it was
project,
going.
Yeah, I don't know where
it's
it's going, is the problem.
Per square foot of land.
Thought of that.
No, I get stuck with that. Where the count is it going to?
So,
So-
thank you for doing that.
And then this is, I put this together during the process, but basically it's an internal coordination flow chart, which shows how this will function in town. But so if an applicant has a permit, they would submit it to the town clerk and the town planner. Basically, if everything funnels through the town planner for review, the town planner determines if it's minor or major. He reviews the documents, he or she, he right now. And then he would send it to the major or minor authority, which then sends it to all the departments, gets comments, and then they go back.
Dan, not exactly related to this, but related to, in general, managing projects in town. I've spoken to Mark Wetzel about thinking about using a software package to help manage the whole process. Is this something that would actually fit in with that?
Yeah, this
Because-
would definitely,
Yeah, because, and if I may, I think the board's probably heard about this on the periphery,
Yeah.
but one of the things that we're getting better at, especially with electronic availability, relying on a human being to track what's happening in all the departments is kind of a challenge, especially with how busy people are. So
Right.
it's been brought forward to the town to actually put a management piece of software in. And ultimately, planning will go in there, building will be in there, conservation will be in there. So similar to a workflow in a private business, it would create a tickler file that will then identify what steps need to be taken and identify who needs to take those steps, so the process continues moving forward. Go ahead.
Well, Chair, I think that's a really great segue to a question I have, and I'm sure you're going to approach it later, but it seems appropriate now, which is I noticed that there's some language in here about annual inspections of stormwater management, the BMPs and other management structures.
Mhm.
It's like, well, who's keeping track of these dates? Like to say, okay, it's been a year. I mean, would it be this
Yes.
workflow software he's talking about? I mean, because I wonder.
I think you could put it in there. Yeah.
Because how would you know? I mean, like, such and such an address, it's been a year,
Right.
that, you know, what triggers, like, your attention?
Yeah, I'm gonna be
right?
too swamped. You know,
Yeah,
DPW is
exactly.
the steward who follows up on all.
So the
Stormwater.
intent
Right.
is to not miss those anniversaries.
Right.
But I defy you to get on an elevator anywhere in Massachusetts today that's been inspected in the last 8 months.
No kidding.
Okay? And as an aside, Massachusetts changed the way they inspected elevators. It used to be on the anniversary of the inspection date. And many years ago, they said, wait a minute. If it was built on January 1st, it's being inspected in August, there's a period of time, so they actually rolled it back to when it was installed. And that's taken a while to catch up. There'll always be catch-up, but at least this system will actually begin to catch more of the falling through the cracks stuff.
Mhm.
Great.
It also impacts people on how they get their workflow done. So it's going to be an adoption process also.
Yeah,
Thanks, Dan.
it'll be one central location, everyone goes with the latest plans are there, so everyone's working on the same things. and,
Okay.
yeah.
During our open meeting, our meeting later, I'm gonna talk about something that happened today that you may be aware of. Go ahead, Dan, please.
Yeah, I think that was it for the presentation.
Thank you.
I don't know if you want to look at either of the, pull up the regulations right now. So one thing I should mention is that the enforcement section, so I brought this up to Robert McCarley, town manager's office, about if we want town council to review.
Yep.
And we decided and talked to the council that they should definitely review the enforcement section, and they haven't
Okay.
gotten back to me on it. So
You want to hold off on comments, but do we need to talk about it now? How do you want to handle that?
the enforcement section, I guess we can hold off on it, and I don't know if we want to, look at things now, and then maybe next meeting is when we
Yeah.
adopt these. I don't know, just because to keep it smooth, because and rather than doing something now.
I guess the question I have for you is
You can't
this.
do anything
We're having this meeting because we want to adopt the new regulations. You've got a timeline that we have a timeline we have to meet
Yeah.
for this.
Right.
I can't imagine we as a board, and I'll speak for myself, not for the board, would find anything untoward with the comments from town council.
Right.
Because obviously what they're going to try and do is come up with an enforcement strategy that is enforceable and is practical.
Right.
So,
Right.
okay. Do you want to touch on it now, the highlights, or
Yeah.
you tell me how you want to use the time? This is why I wanted to get the Panther Place out of the way.
Yeah,
Because
so
I
you
think
don't
there's some
pressure to.
extras.
Yeah.
Well, no.
I mean, before you, just a quick
Yeah.
one, Mr. Chair, is, I do have a few comments. I don't know when is it appropriate to
Yeah.
raise these comments or issues? I don't know if you want to wait till you're entirely done, or it's the next meeting. Could you give me some guidelines? Like, do you want to discuss them now, later, next meeting?
I want to give Dan the time he needs.
Excellent.
But let's
Let him
cover
discuss.
what we can this evening.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay? Because honestly, guys, the 27th is when Stratton Hill hits.
It's gonna be big.
And big or not, our focus is going to be pulled away from doing this stuff.
Right.
So let's get done what we can get done.
So I can go through this. I mean, in that PowerPoint, I basically explained what we did.
Yeah.
If we go into this, we'll just get into the nitty gritty of everything. Do we want to do that?
Let me ask you a question this
Yeah.
way. You're out doing outfall inspections. You find an illicit connection. You go through the process. Somewhere somebody or somewhere something is adding discharge. You go through an enforcement process. At the very top level, what does that enforcement process include?
Well, it starts out, it starts out slow, where you send a letter,
Mhm.
and then you give a certain amount of time for it to be remedied,
Mhm.
and then, as you get further on, if it's not being remedied, it gives the town the right to remedy it.
Yep.
Is basically
At the
enforcement
expense
in-
of the person.
in
At
summary.
the expense of the.
Right. Yeah.
Of the.
Yeah, and there's a way to exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Recoup.
So it's basically remedies very similar to building permit remedies and stuff like that, or we hold a covenant on a project or a bond on a project. If the project stops, we remedy, take the money to fix it.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
basically along those lines.
And it's not
Yeah.
necessarily designed to be
Enforcement.
punitive, it's designed to recoup the cost for the town.
Correct. Yeah, for the town doing the work. Yeah. Right.
Thank you. Okay.
I guess I can turn the.
Because that's what everyone wants to know is
Correct changes.
what's the speeding ticket gonna cost me, right?
Right.
You don't want to
Show
do
Mark
speed,
up.
period.
I didn't go there, but some people want to know the answer to that question.
Oh, simple markup. There we go.
Oh, boy.
Markup.
Whatever. Well,
Formatting.
if you crack it open, it's all red, which means it's
I
all
know,
text.
Yeah. So that's just the table of contents. We can skip. But up here is just really wordsmith thing
Yeah.
to add in the other bylaw. Oh,
You've done an awful lot of work on this, Dan.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
this
I
was
want
a
to
lot of work.
thank the
Yeah.
members of the planning board and other people who were involved in it. It's had a lot of eyes on it.
Definitely thank them. Yeah.
So,
Thank you to them. So these are land disturbance thresholds are in section 2.3. I have it up here now. These were brought directly in from the bylaw, just kind of as for ease. So then in part B of that section is where we get into the distinction between minor and major projects. So we altered that.
And this is reflected also in the permit application.
Yes.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
So when they
Well,
ask
I got
for
it
it, it's a
right.
couple pages, they're gonna fill it out.
Yeah, so like I said, we went from 40,000 minimum to 20,000, so we basically just changed those total cumulative disturbance of land, 20,000
Are those
to
in,
40 as a minor project.
Are those in line with what other communities are doing in central Massachusetts?
This is, yeah. So we actually, we based what we were doing, we looked at other towns as well.
So
Yeah.
we can't be accused of being
Nope.
Yeah,
overly-
right, being the Cambridge of it or
overly,
something. No. Yeah,
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Being the Cambridge of.
No,
of
we
regulation, no.
can't, we stand on good standing when someone says you're overly aggressive in what you're doing. The answer
Yes.
is, everyone around us is doing it the
Right.
same way.
Right.
Okay.
I think we were trying to just get in the middle somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Found some more restrictive.
And we looked
some
to
less
it,
restrictive.
examples in
We tried to look at
towns.
towns that were similar
Yeah.
to the type of town we had.
Right, we did, I think we had 4 or 5 examples, and we looked through
Thank you.
those. And we also looked at examples in town, there was a 3-lot, I think they might have been A&Rs, I don't know, but over on Sandy Pond near Central Ave. And if you do the cumulative of that, it was greater than the 20,000 threshold, but less than a 40,000. I actually had to go out there and make the guy put out some straw wattle because it was
You're
went
a
off
tough-
into our
you're a
street.
tough one, aren't you, Dan?
Charlie helped me a little. He had his building
So
permit.
you brought the
The guy
muscle.
needed a building. Anyway,
You brought the muscle.
yeah.
Okay.
So we left you talked about the volumes earlier, those stay the same, and slopes. Those are the same as they were before, even though it's in red here, I just had to copy it over. And then also for a minor project, we did the 2,000 square feet up to 5,000 square feet is a critical area, the zone 2 or the impaired water body discharges in.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We had an A&R in front of us at the last meeting over on Wright Road. And this is a question and it's a land clearing question, but I'm curious if this would be triggered by that. And we talked about
Discharge to
this-
the impaired water body?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't
See it.
It's an offline conversation, and they're ready to go and they're moving forward. It's just
Right, and that's kind of, the areas that you want to focus on because
across
Sandy
the
Pond
pond.
has phosphorus limitations from our 2016 geosynthetic pond study that was done by conservation, so.
so when you and I spoke about that on the phone, I was thinking about just the land clearing they did.
Yeah.
They're probably right around the threshold where they have to come to us for a land clearing permit,
Oh, okay,
but this may
so
actually.
this would probably have,
Now, that project precedes this, and I asked
Right,
the
so then
engineer
we-
to make sure he was in compliance while he
Right.
was in the room with us, so, okay.
right, yeah, proceeds, yeah. So then major project, basically we go higher, anything that's over 40,000 square feet, volumes higher than 2,200, et cetera, et cetera. And then critical areas greater than 5,000 square feet. So the major permits, that's where we require design engineer, full design, meeting all the design requirements, which are later in the document. Procedures, pretty much the same.
Okay, hold on, ready to stop.
Yep.
Little typo, but I know it's a little separate, maybe should be 2 words.
Okay.
I thought you were going to point to the word no and say it.
No is
I know
misspelled.
you're gonna redo this, but
Yeah.
when I send out the building permits to get signed, will you be checking for these standards, or is it something Mark should be checking for?
That was a
Mark
question I was
always
going to
looks at
ask.
them, but
That's
it's
a really
something we
good
both
question.
should be. yeah.
That's-
It's just a bit on my end of it, on the different department side, who should be checking for this part when new building permits come in?
One of my questions was going to be, the Ayer
Yeah,
Planning Board
implementation.
stormwater management permit application. Well, we only meet every other week, and none of us are going to look at this between the meetings. So there's a procedural question that has to be
Yeah.
answered.
So we'll have to
it's-
figure
my
that out
my
internally.
question is more or less, then everything comes to planning, on my building department side, when I get a building permit application comes in, DPW always signs off on it.
Yeah.
Who's gonna be looking for compliance on this on the building permit side?
I'd say it's part of that DPW. We can
Okay.
talk,
All
but
right,
yeah.
I just
Yeah.
thinking of this.
It occurs to me, and if I'm not mistaken, that DPW sees most of the building stuff that comes in that's
Yeah,
going to be
no,
of
we
this style. I mean, you're not gonna see, I wanna put a front porch on my house type stuff.
Right.
That's not going to rise to
Right.
this
Right.
magnitude. But I wanna put,
Good. Be a big porch.
I would-
Could be in a
You're-
critical, could be in a
2,000
critical
square feet.
location.
and
I don't know
it could be,
if
I
12
mean,
addition,
it's a
I
bad
mean,
example
additions.
because
Yeah.
the
like
Conservation Commission
12.
just saw a
The
cantilever
guys putting up
deck
taps
over
right now.
Flint,
That's
over,
pretty big. It wasn't 2,000.
the name of the pond,
No.
Flanagan's.
Yeah, like
So,
a shed,
yeah.
what, 10 by 20?
But, you know, I think the answer to the question might be, we all know enough about the town and the way it's laid out, that if this is, you know, I'm sure Charlie knows where the property is, Mark knows where the property is, it should occur to somebody who's asked that question.
When somebody pulls a building permit, do they typically do it online, fill it out online in this day and age?
Because of COVID with us being closed, yeah, 90% of them have been done online. They're slowly coming in person, but it's been,
Or you'd be
It's a
like, we
slow
print it out,
process.
fill it out by hand, and then drop it off.
yeah, it's a slow process. And again, and I'm just wondering, because of, it's the whole new part, and yeah, 2,000 square feet is not a lot, but if someone's gonna come in, demo a house and then build, that's gonna hit the threshold.
Yeah.
And that doesn't go through site plan, that doesn't go through the planning board, you know what I mean? So who's
That-
gonna
that's-
be verifying these things when it goes to sign on?
That's basically
DPW already
what-
has the curb cut, you know, the cap and water cut, so they're gonna be aware of it, so that's just a procedural on my end. Just as we're going through this,
Maybe
I wanna
we
know
should-
that sooner than later, cause this gets voted on next meeting, I have to start doing that.
Okay. Thanks,
Add
man.
another item to the things I need to do,
Oh, yeah.
on multiple boards.
The building permit application might have to be amended to include a line that just checks off, you know, complies with.
Yes or no?
I've worked here for 4 years, I've been in it like 5 times.
Right, but what I'm saying is that all it might need is a checkbox on the building permit application, like all the other checkboxes.
Yeah.
It says,
You put,
check, you know, we.
Yeah.
we do
the
not-
onus is on the applicant to do the work.
Right, but, you know.
And this actually is a fairly straightforward document, the plan
Why thank
application.
you,
Right.
I'm sorry?
why thank you.
Yeah, no, it's, if you
Yeah,
read
you
through it,
I did.
it's very straightforward. So it
I
becomes
can steal
part,
from
it becomes
Lancaster,
part of the building
that's-
permit. I'm not gonna
I
tell the
liked
building
it
department how
there.
to do it, but it may become part of the building. Did you do the stormwater thing check? Yes, no.
Right, do you need one?
And
Mhm.
believe me,
That would be good.
it'll become apparent really quickly if they're not in compliance with doing this.
Yeah, just.
Charlie will get to the site, or
I'm
Dan will
just
get to the
thinking out
site
loud as we're
and see what's
discussing
going
this,
on.
it's something I need to start retraining my brain to do.
Though I defy you, Dan, to estimate 1,500 cubic yards of material.
I'll talk to you after the meeting.
How many triaxles is that? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, and that's like we're asking Panther Place for the cut and fill, the volume estimate that, you know, I don't know anyways. Why don't we just keep going?
They can take a stab at it, and you guys can agree, that's a secret.
Yeah. So right here, there's not many differences. Fees stay the same, just minor change of nomenclature.
Sorry, a cut and fill conversation for Central Lab would have been impossible with the blasting.
Yeah. Right.
All the work they did over there.
Yeah, that's, and like, and we talk about how steep the slope is too,
Yeah.
that's one of our thresholds.
Yeah, exactly.
That should have been a permit, but, you know, it didn't happen. Public meetings, hearings, decisions, we made a little bit of change here, I guess, in 2 years.
And
Oh, we made that for all projects.
And this is what's,
That's what we did.
this is what's currently at the town council?
Yeah, this document, yeah.
Okay.
So we just pulled this sentence out for major projects and added it as a third bullet, so it applies to major and minor to have all stormwater management systems completed within 2 years unless an extension of time's up. And then design standards, so I don't know how deep you want to get into, you have questions on it, maybe we could just do,
I
yeah.
don't have a lot, but I just have a few.
Yeah.
So don't give me that look like I'm.
This is gonna be fun.
You're just
Hopefully I
like,
can
oh my
answer.
God. So if
He's
you look
trying
at
to figure out
design
what he can do at
standards,
his
if you look
house.
at page 8, design standards B4, The town is a municipal vulnerability preparedness MVP community in the
Yeah.
Commonwealth's program, and design shall consider measures for community climate resilience, such as nature-based solutions. And I highlighted this because I'm thinking, will anyone know what these NSBs are and where NBSs are and where to find them and how
Yeah.
to, you know what I mean? It just seems like this could open up something.
Professional
Please.
engineers will know.
They'll know. Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's it. I just wanted to ask the question. If we're good, we're good.
What number were you reading that
And
on?
actually, it's on
Number
page
4,
9.
page 9, number 4, it's under 2AB.
And what's scary about this, Jonathan,
Yeah.
is
Oh,
that
yeah,
I
no.
read that sentence and I know exactly what it means.
Okay,
Yeah, I
great.
do too.
That's
which
fine.
is really scary. Okay,
That's
But-
fine.
But
Oh, yeah.
one of the things that we do as a town, and it doesn't always make it out to people to understand, we do things so that when we go for grants and funding, we are higher up the list.
Right.
Okay, it's as simple as Complete Streets gets us something. Municipal vulnerability planning gets us something, and these are important parts of the municipal funding that happens. So, I mean, yes, it brings real value, but we've looked at what happens if there's a storm like this, what happens if there's a flood like this, what happens if there's an event like that, and public safety is working on it all the time. So, as Mr. Diskin says, an engineer sees that and says, okay.
Great.
So,
So I
Yeah.
just want- I just
and they
want
know
to
the
be sure.
playbook they have to follow when they get to that point. So, it's-
Okay. Do you want to just keep going with questions and
Yeah,
design
do you mind?
standards? Yeah, let's just do that.
So while we're in
rather than
design
going
standards,
every
if you
one.
look at
Yeah.
page 12, it's page 12, number 4, so what would that be under? It's under D, no, I'm sorry. It's under E4, page 12, number 4. The authority shall at its discretion identify priority areas within the watershed or tributary area in which the off-site mitigation may be completed.
Yeah.
Do we need to talk about how you're gonna do that, or is that gonna put you in a box? Is that, you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So basically, the background, so this is if somebody's gonna do off-site mitigation, so they're not gonna do it on their lot or wherever their
Right.
project is, but they gotta keep it within, the Huck 12, it's the Nashua River or the Merrimack watershed, so they, which we actually, the town is split by those. So they have to keep it within there. So this gives the authority, planning board, discretion to identify priority areas. Interior.
Okay, so we don't need to get into
so-
how we do that or why, I mean, it just gives us the discretion. It really an
Yeah.
uncommon occurrence.
Well, don't.
Do we want to get, I mean.
I'm just
yeah,
asking, yeah,
that's
you're
right, I don't
good?
know either. I think it kind of leaving it open like that might be
Might be the
good.
best.
I think leaving it open actually makes a lot of sense, and the reason
Okay.
being is, if we plan for everything, we haven't planned for the first thing we see.
Okay, that's
That
fine.
happened with the OSRD.
That's fine.
Yeah,
There's,
So,
and I don't expect this to.
there's a significant,
Much
there
of
are a
it.
couple, just as a general comment, is that I don't know if the general counsel will do this, but before final approval, this will need to be checked for proofread. Because I did find a number of typos. Some of them are trivial and it's no big deal, but some of them, like this one, if you scroll down to H and you look under 2B,
let me see.
okay, minimize impervious surfaces. I think, do you mean the word and or that? Minimize impervious surfaces that break up or disconnect the flow of runoff? Or do you mean minimize impervious surfaces and, see the and there, that word and there is throwing me off. And break up or disconnect the flow of runoff over impervious surface. I think that and is supposed to be the word that.
No, I think it's Ann.
I
Is it
believe it's
in?
in, yes.
Yeah.
Minimize, you want to minimize impervious surfaces?
Yeah.
And you want to break up and
Yes.
disconnect the flow? Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, just wanted to make sure.
You see,
Good
English
Sounds
doesn't work
good.
all the time.
Good.
I just wanted to check.
It did work.
It's an engineering term, but yeah, no.
Okay. I'm
Do you have other questions, Sean? Love to go through them, honestly.
Yeah, page 18.
Okay.
If we look at page 18, D, permittee inspections, number 1, all projects.
Is this,
I'm sorry.
which is this 2 point something? Yeah, my 18.
2.11.
Is it
211.
We have 210.
211.
211 project changes, yeah.
211. Project permittee inspections. Wait a minute. What
It says,
happened?
you're looking at
Two-
what shall
page
notify
18?
the authority in
It's
writing.
212 inspections.
Inspections, okay.
And then, what is it, D? Oh, here we go, permitting inspections.
It says the permittee or representative shall conduct and document inspections of all control measures no less than weekly. Or specify do we need the words, does that mean during construction, you mean weekly? I mean, do you understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Your SWIP requires you to do it every week in an order of a rain event of more than a quarter of an inch. So they
I just
are
didn't
done
know if we
weekly.
need to have clarifying languages, during the construction phase or something like that. It's not in perpetuity, of course. I mean, you don't have weekly inspections after the thing's done, right?
Yeah, so I'm trying to look at our section, so we have a pre-construction meeting, authority inspection session take place.
Or maybe it's
throughout
understood the
duration
construction
of
of
the
it's
project.
understood, these are all applicable to the construction phase and not post-construction.
So
maintenance.
what's the major heading again? A little higher, yeah.
Here, 212, inspection and site supervision. All inspections shall be conducted by some agents.
It's funny, as I read it, I assume it's during the construction period.
Yeah, I think it's
No,
just
but I just know
presumed.
that-
I don't think we really say it.
You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah,
Because I just don't want us to
Inspection,
get into a
site
weird situation in the future, that's all.
Says inspection may take.
But nobody checks. I'm being facetious.
Although D,
I know what
that's
you're saying.
D.
Do you see what I'm getting at?
Engineer that would note that would be checked.
And what happens in situations where, say they build a large underground garage where automobiles are kept, they put in oil separators, those have to be inspected on a regular basis.
yeah.
And that becomes part of the management process for that. So it would be outside of this.
Yeah, that would be the.
It would be outside of this.
Yeah, that gets into the O and M section.
So we're-
Right, so I guess.
So we're okay then? Everything here is implied that this is construction-related regulation? Okay.
Yeah.
As long as that's absolutely crystal clear,
Because
I
ultimately, if it's a non-residential use and it's gonna possibly introduce something into the groundwater, that's part of the permitting for it. And they have to do an O and M and they have to
Yeah.
continuously monitor it.
Jonathan, if you look, the next section is,
O&M?
yeah, the next section 12.13.
Got it.
Professional inspections and maintenance, yeah.
So it kind of before that, so you just assume that's during construction.
Oh, you know what, and if we back up, I'm sorry, please forgive me, under 2.10, operation and maintenance, D, annual report submittal, number 1, any activity approved by the permit shall remain subject to compliance with the stormwater bylaw and these regulations. Reports shall be submitted to the authority each year within 30 days of the date of approval and shall include descriptions of the BMP's inspections and maintenance performed.
Yeah.
Who's gonna enforce that? I mean, how's that gonna be?
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I guess, because it's like, that's why I brought that up earlier, it's like, well, who's keeping track of these annual?
That's actually a really good question, and having been somebody who was actually managed properties where that existed,
Yeah.
you rely upon the management company to enforce it. Ultimately, what happens is, in a situation where the conservation may be the actual enforcement agency for it, or the DPW, they eventually get around to saying to you, where are your reports? Okay?
Mhm.
If you don't have them in, it's a challenge.
It's a problem.
Right,
Yeah.
so like Pingree Hill, for example, hadn't cleaned
Yeah.
out their stormwater basins the whole
Yeah.
time it's been there, so there was trees growing in them. And so we recently got on them to do that when I think they wanted a covenant release or something.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
Say
with-
no
so,
covenant
yeah,
release.
yeah,
Ultimately,
you know, let's get this
they're gonna want
done.
something, they won't get it without.
Okay, I get
So
it.
there are things that are trigger. Pingree Hill's an interesting situation because it hasn't been turned over to the homeowners association yet because the developer still owns a lot. So we're in a gray area.
Yeah,
But they have to maintain, but the annual maintenance has to happen.
yeah.
So that final lot may never get a certificate of occupancy based on what's going on. That was,
I got a quick
that
comment
predated
about
us.
this discussion. I think what you have to keep in mind here is that Dan and the group were trying to establish these regulations, not with the intent of necessarily knowing what the authority was gonna be or how they were gonna be enforced, but we had to put the language in place.
I understand.
Yeah.
So that's, I think the key was to get this language in place and build a format, build a
Yeah.
regulation, and then you've got something to work off of, you know. to say.
Yeah, I think, going in the future, this is gonna get more sought after. As part of our MS4 permit, we've had to identify private and public-owned BMPs in town, so we've kind of identified that, and the DPW's actually, we just cleaned a few basins that have basically never been cleaned, because we found out we're in charge of taking care of those ones. So going forward, there's gonna be this is gonna be addressed, and I think when we revisit the stormwater utility, which we have money to do, if a stormwater utility ever becomes something we have, that would be, you know, it would be bulked into the.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
It's kind of an organic process. I hate to say it
Yeah.
that way, but it really is. And if we end up
Yeah.
with 100-year events year after year,
Well, then we have to.
there's a challenge, so. I don't want that to
I
happen
have-
to you, Dan.
No.
I just have one final
ahead.
thing that I marked up I thought was really interesting. If you look at 311, waste disposal prohibitions, and I think this is particularly relevant in relation to some issues that came up in town with
There we go.
citizens approaching the select board about certain conditions. And it says, "No person shall throw, deposit, leave, maintain, keep, or permit to be thrown, deposited, left, or maintained in or upon any public or private property, driveway, parking area, street, alley, sidewalk, component of the municipal storm drain system, or water of the Commonwealth." Here it comes. "Any refuse, rubbish, garbage, litter, or other discarded, abandoned objects, articles, and accumulation, so that the same may cause or contribute to pollution." My question to you is, and to the board, can this apply to heavy equipment, abandoned cars, trailers, and other large things that people tend to leave on their property?
I sure hope so.
So do you understand what I'm getting at? This might be one of the most important
Right,
inclusions in this entire document.
That, I agree with you, Mr. Krantz. And I think that in simultaneously with our nuisance bylaw, which we have the other bylaws, will begin to start the process of changing how people dispose of things.
Or abandoned. Yes, thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Dan, I'm gonna ask you a question. How much more do you need? Because we're getting on. For time-wise.
I'm
It's my
a,
fault.
yeah, no,
It's not your fault.
I don't know if anyone else has reviewed it. We could go through some more questions if you have them now, and then I think because town council's still looking at it, we should wait till next meeting to do anything, and I'll let you know what their comments were.
Give me a time frame. This was adopted by town meeting last year.
April,
In
yep.
April. I'm sorry, the last town meeting. This does not have to go back to town meeting for further adoption at this point?
No, this doesn't. The bylaws are all set, so the regulations need to be amended. The amendments need to be adopted.
So what I'm going to ask you to do, Dan, and I know you've got all the time in the world on your hands every single day. You're not very busy.
24 hours a day.
At the DPW.
24 hours.
But why don't, as I mentioned earlier, we're expecting to be a little inundated in our next meeting, and we kind of want to have the decks cleared for that. I hope you wouldn't be upset if we couldn't get to you in 2 weeks.
No, that's okay, as long as we're making progress, then
Yeah.
it's okay, and we'll be able to write that in our report.
I want you,
EPA.
you need to maintain your progress going forward, because I want us to remain in compliance with the permit we have. Just, it needs to be understood by people that we may end up having to put our focus somewhere else. If you feel like we're not giving you the attention you deserve, please let me know.
No.
No,
All right, well,
going forward
I know
in the
what you're saying
future,
right now is-
I want to keep it, as you know, I happen to talk to Mr. Wetzel a bunch. And I talked to you a bunch of times. So let's just keep it open and keep it going. Let's find out what town council does. And I think the board will be very open to making sure it gets done.
Absolutely.
So we meet your needs, and the town needs to have the permit. So
Yeah.
I want to get it done.
All right, yep.
And I want to say
Sounds good
thank you
me.
very much. I think this
Thank you.
is,
And
you won't think I'm kidding, and I'm not kidding, Dan. This is really important, and it is quite fascinating.
no, it definitely is, and, now that we're kind of more on top of it, I think we'll be looking at getting more permits as we should have been in the past, and obviously, like you said, thank you again, Mark and Ken with the work group and the rest of the work group, and you guys for.
You've already done the painful part.
Yeah.
Ken was in your meetings. I've heard about this.
All right.
Yeah, I like to know that.
I've heard about this from Ken along the way. He's done a really good job of keeping.
Oh, good.
us-
All right.
keeping at least me apprised of it. I'm sure Jonathan, when you guys walk, he probably tells you about it too.
I hear things.
Inject.
Okay, fantastic. So,
Great, thank you.
Dan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Sorry to have kept you out from your family so late.
Oh, that's okay, they're actually up in New Hampshire.
So they're on vacation.
We just
Okay.
need a motion to
Ooh.
continue to a specific
Right.
date.
I'm sorry?
We need a motion to continue to a specific date.
Mr. Krantz, would you please?
What, are we gonna make that to the next meeting, which is,
Mark,
Yeah.
let's make it the 27th.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, I mean, we.
I'd like to
Put it
make-
on the agenda, and we'll let you know if you have to show up or not.
Hopefully it won't be.
Based on what else shows up on the
I'd like to
agenda.
make a motion to continue the public hearing for stormwater regulations to our next meeting on July
27th.
27th.
Right,
Yeah.
thank you. If it doesn't come back from town council, please let us know so we can
Yeah.
take care of it.
Right.
Thanks, Dan.
I have a technicality question.
Please.
If he's not a member of our board, could he Zoom in that night and just listen if we need him? So that way he's not, and we all know him well enough that. he
It's a
was-
good question.
I would think so.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know, I actually was reading that paragraph tonight, and I wasn't sure how it gets implemented, so
I mean,
we'll
if
find out
if
along the way.
they're allowed to speak to us from the Zoom, I don't see
Mm.
why Dan can't speak to us from Zoom.
Yeah, I did it at select board, the very first select board,
See?
because they hadn't worked out the technology yet.
I
so
recommend
I
that.
believe it is allowed.
No, that's, whatever works.
That was easy.
I think we've all become very comfortable with, I actually liked Zoom, more people participated.
Then you can
Honestly, we
Yeah.
had more
figure out
participation
something
through Zoom.
before.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, thank you.
Moving on our agenda, go ahead.
We
We
didn't vote on
we
it.
didn't, I say
No.
second.
Did you
said
say
it,
second?
seconded.
Everyone
Seconded.
seconded?
I don't think there was a
Any
vote.
further discussion?
Well, that was.
Hearing none, all in favor?
That's what I thought. so-
Sorry about that. I gotta ask the quick, the discussion
That was
came
my
before I said any
discussion.
further discussion.
I left it for the discussion part.
You want motions for
You know
continue,
Robert's
for
rules with
14
me.
Washington Street?
Yes, please.
I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing for the special permit for 14 Washington Street to our next meeting on July 20.
They actually requested till the,
So,
To the
please,
August 24th.
please make the motion. We'll get
Sorry.
the second, I'll do the discussion piece.
Okay, thank
Sorry.
you. To our next meeting scheduled, I keep forgetting.
July 27th.
Sorry, 27th, sorry.
Seconded.
Thank you. I'm gonna say any discussion, and at that point, we have a communication.
Okay, great.
And the communication specifically asks that we continue without prejudice until August 24th, 21st. Would you consider that a friendly amendment?
Yes, I would consider it a friendly amendment.
Okay, can we remember to put it on the agenda for the 21st?
I already made an agenda,
Thank you.
so I
just-
wouldn't forget.
Heather, I gotta ask because it's on TV.
Yep, no,
Okay.
it's all set.
So, without that, the email has been distributed to the members of the board. I'm not gonna bother reading it.
Thank
Okay, just to get us through this evening. So, the motion has been amended, and I'm going to ask that it cover the site plan review also for 14 Washington
So
Street.
do we get it? You want to do that before we vote on the first one?
No, we'll do the first one, but I want to make sure we do the second one also.
Okay.
So, it has been moved and seconded and amended that we'll continue the public hearing, special permit for 14 Washington Street until August 24th, 21. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
For this second one, can I go directly to the August 22nd?
Please do.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to continue the site plan review for 14 Washington Street to our Air Planning Board meeting on August 22nd.
24th,
24th, pardon me,
2021.
2021.
Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Thank you. Moving to second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Fantastic. Town planner update. We see you about a half hour, right, Mark?
Huh?
You needed about a half hour?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I wanted to mention that in regard to Stratton Hill, that I'm presently putting together a traffic impact and mitigation study RFP that would go to traffic consultants, just like we did for Alltown and we did for Shaker Mill Pond. My question to the board is, that's something we're definitely gonna do. We definitely need the traffic study and the road study.
Time out. Time
Right.
out.
Well,
I think what you're saying is you'd like to suggest that the board seriously consider. This is not an open hearing. So we're discussing something
Right,
without
we're
a
discussing a
road.
procedural thing. Yeah,
Exactly.
this isn't part of the public hearing.
Okay. So I don't know if
But
I understood that.
He's anticipating it.
So so what you're
So-
saying is you're putting together an RFP
An RFP,
for a
and my question
possible,
is,
for a possible traffic study that may be
Right.
required by the board
right,
for the Stratton Hill project,
Correct.
which we will start to discuss on the 27th.
27th.
Got
My
it.
question is.
Is that fair?
Yes.
Thank you.
Given how complex that project will be, I'm thinking the more time that we give a traffic consultant to do it, the better. But I can also see a situation where butters might come in knowing more about the local situation up there and have some good points that they want to add to the RFP.
Mhm.
So my question is, should I attempt to get the RFP out to a few consultants for their proposals before the 27th, or would you rather wait till then?
Comments from the board?
Well, I definitely want to wait. I wouldn't think about putting out a traffic study on the RFP before the applicant agreed to it.
Thank you.
Well, I was going to get his permission to do that.
So-
But,
So, I'm going to say it a little bit differently. I'm not absolutely convinced that we'll have the information we need to either require or approve a traffic study until we have input from the residents who will be directly impacted
Right.
by this project.
Yes.
I would hope that we are, I know I am being spoken to about this by friends and neighbors. Yes, you know, when you sit in this chair and talk a lot, they figure out who you are. I also know that this has an impact upon other people who are close to many of us here at the board. The process needs to go through the process the same way we just did Shaken Mill Pond, Panther Place, and
the old town.
19, what's it called? Not all
Littleton Road.
Littleton Road project.
Yeah.
DeCloris's project, the current DeCloris
Right.
project. I don't think the door is open or closed to having a traffic study, but I really do hope, quite honestly, and I'll put this out now, I've asked if there is a larger space that we can use if we end up full here. The great room's not appropriate.
No.
The space at the police department's about this size, we can seat more here. I've asked, what I was doing before I got to the meeting, and almost the reason I was late is I was sitting with the town manager discussing, this is a big project. The plans have come to us, it's 36 roughly, I counted them quickly, I haven't done the details, and it impacts 3 neighborhoods that currently have no way out the other way. I'm hoping that these people, that the residents and neighbors, not of just Sandy Pond and Wright Road and Snake Hill Road and Calvin and Oak Ridge Drive,
Yeah.
I hope they get a chance to take a look at this and figure it out. And I'm gonna jump the gun, I'm gonna jump the shark a little bit right now, if you will, if I can say it. Heather did something today which I love. So, we have a request for information act, request from a resident. And it's important that Heather be able to get her job done and not constantly respond to these requests. A large part of our jobs are, of Mark's job and Heather's job and the town manager's job and the town clerk's office and the Board of Health, is people make requests for information. The statute says that they have, I think, 10 business days to respond to it. It's the type of thing, though, that you don't want to leave the line open, because if you forget, you're in trouble. So, along those lines, and this is a conversation that I've had with the town manager's office, how can we make this information available to people? So today, and I believe you all got an email later on today about it, Cindy Knox and Heather put together a website under planning board that has a link, and do you have a copy of it to show?
No, I can put it up.
I asked that we demonstrate it here on TV tonight.
Oh, it's really easy.
It's very
So
easy.
anybody
It's working.
who's interested in this and future projects for us can go to the
It is
planning board
right
website,
here. Straight
and
down.
there will be the documents. I need to say this out loud, and we'll add this verbiage somewhere. As with everything town related, the official documents reside in paper copy here at the town hall. By all means, come and look at them. However, by putting them available on the website, we're saying to people, this is the best we have right now, this is what we got, feel free to go through them. I can't expect, and I do not expect Mark's or Heather's office or Cindy's office to put every little nuance change here. And we'll see how the process goes. If we harken back to the Panther Place project, we stopped writing plans. It's crazy to have a new set of plans every week. All of us be sitting there squinting at the screen, and especially during COVID. So I think we found a way to work with the developer there and I think we're gonna find a way to get this through the process. So, I will still probably request certain pages printed because I'm blind.
Yeah, me too.
But,
Going on to
go
this,
ahead.
so when I sent that out, I wanted to ask, so this is essentially just the plans with the definitive subdivision plan. The documents include what was just submitted, the conservation analysis, and a couple other little pieces of
Yeah.
paper. My question to the board itself is, do you want any of the other documents on there? Because we have ways of getting the stormwater calcs, the actual application. Is this fine for you? Do you want to see more? And we'll get, when revisions come in,
Yeah.
it's a matter of just asking the engineer to send it to me electronically, and then I forward that link to Cindy.
Exactly.
And they get
So
that'll be fine.
yeah.
We can do that. I just didn't know if you guys wanted to see any other documents on there besides just the plans.
Yeah, and so my response to that is, we don't know.
Yeah,
And
so I was
that's-
figuring
and
we'd
that's,
wait,
and
see if
that's
we could
honest.
ask.
And again, I was at town manager's office today, he was good enough to give me an hour and 15 minutes of his time.
Yeah,
And it took longer, of course. But
we all do. We get in there.
part of the discussion is this. We live in a world now with Zoom. We live in a world now with the ability to do this. The reason I mentioned that software package. Our lives are changing because tools are there for us to use. This is something that we can utilize to do two things. Get information to us, get information to town, to residents. It's really important to me that we maintain, and I believe to the rest of the board, and I'll speak for myself at this point, the process remains open and transparent as we go through Stratton Hill. And this is the first step along the way. I don't know what it's actually going to look like at the end of the day, but this is a really, really good first step. I think I wrote back to you, thanks, this is awesome.
Yeah, well, Cindy told me you called her yesterday, and she told me she assumed it was about getting those on, so I'm like, okay, we'll take
Yeah.
care of it first thing in the morning. She's like, okay.
Yeah, so it scares me because I started to write an email to Cindy and I thought this is a very complex email, and I was in the middle of another Zoom meeting and my meeting ended and I made a phone call to Cindy, at which point, I forget who it was, somebody else called me on the phone. I said, Cindy, I gotta go. And I had said to her, we've talked about this in the past. Lo and behold, I woke up this morning and here we go.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for taking the initiative. It's a great way.
It's a lot easier now. We do have a woman that comes in and scans plans, so I'm also in the process of scanning all of completed planning
Yeah.
board projects,
Yeah.
so I can get rid of those revisions,
Yeah.
and only keep the most recent, because right now, when Kataya pulls their building permits, and I'll do that one, that one is this,
Yeah.
because of all the revisions.
Exactly.
So
And-
we're working on that, but, so currently, I'm getting
So,
slowly all the planning board plans scanned.
So for members of the planning board who come to the offices to talk to Heather or Mark or somebody else, sometimes their offices move for whatever reasons. Heather said something to me the other day when I asked her, is she ever going to move? She said, no, there's too many records to move. This might even give Heather an office somewhere else in the building eventually. But quite seriously, I want to invite the townsfolk to poke around on here, take a look at it. The folks who have asked me about this are going to get the link from me. By all means, share the link. We're going to have, hopefully, an open and productive process on what's going to happen up at Stratton Hill. You know, so I'm sorry to jump in there, but that seemed to be the segue.
Well, that's great, yeah, that's fine. So I'll hold off on the traffic study.
And it's your planning department at work. And by the way, folks, Heather works for planning, for building, and for Board of Health.
And
So
a little bit of Parks and Rec.
And so she needs to be efficient, and this is really going to help her. And like I said, town manager is looking at this as a greater solution for the town. This is just something we've cobbled together, or they've cobbled together to help us.
Yeah.
Go
And any big
ahead.
plans going forward, just let me
Yeah.
know and I'll make sure that gets
Yeah,
done.
that's good. So,
I'm sorry, Mr. Diskin, would you like to? Yeah, please.
I don't want anyone to take from your comment that there would ever have been an intent for anything not to be open and available to the
No.
public. Because it always has been and always would be, no
Yes.
matter what
Oh,
steps
right.
we're taking
Yeah.
at this point
Thank
in
you for
time.
just making it.
So I want to make sure everyone understands, we're not doing anything different here.
Yep.
We're adding a process to make it a little more easy for people to get their hands on documents.
Exactly.
I'm also suggesting, I think you called me today about it, that these need to contain some kind of a disclaimer when we put things up like this.
Yeah.
Because the disclaimer needs to indicate that this is what has been submitted and it's part of an application only.
And
And
Heather,
that it's
before you
not to
start
be
working on that,
assumed that
I'm gonna-
anything that you see is voted on, approved, or otherwise.
Exactly.
And so no assumptions should be made.
Right, yeah.
So
Right.
there needs to be a
Approve and
disclaimer.
reinforce it.
And Mr. Diskin's comment to me was another reason why I was in the town manager's office today, because most town websites include in there somewhere a disclaimer, exactly that.
Right.
And like I said in the beginning, the paper copy on record at the town clerk's office or the town manager's office is the paper copy of record. These are what have been submitted to us. Between now and the meeting, the applicant may realize they forgot a page or included a page or had a description that is nowhere, just doesn't make any sense at all in the project, and they will change it. So that the general public understands, we deal with this on a day-to-day basis. The reason why Panther Place, we put a hold on Panther Place plans, it gets to be complex very quickly. So, one of the things that Robert took down in notes was, what's the disclaimer going to be? So I would let Robert take care of that.
All right, awesome. Yay.
Okay?
I will leave my
No,
notes
he's-
to be.
Let's let the boss do the boss work, okay?
Sounds good to me.
So thank you, Mr. Do you have other comments, Mr. Diskin?
Well, let's see, I guess if we have time, let's have open it right now. See what that happens.
Heather, would you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Would you open the documents at the top? It's a 51-page document.
Oh, this one, yeah.
Yeah, just if you just open it so people know what it takes a moment to load. It's
Yeah,
51
because
pages.
it's big, yeah.
Okay? But if you go on the scroll, just hit the page down key or scroll down on the scroll bar on the left. Yeah, thanks.
It's a lot of stuff.
So this is a copy of, actually, would you scroll down the big pictures?
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
Yeah, and Mr. Diskin actually showed me one of the drawings in here is really nice.
Real nice, that one too.
Yeah, these are all really good drawings. And some of the drawings, especially the colored one.
Yeah, that drawing shows the old road bed.
Yeah, it's very hard to see, but the old road bed is a pink dotted line and the
Yeah.
new road bed. So if you are familiar with the area up there, it also depicts where the houses may be. Again, this has not been decided upon. This is their,
Right.
this is their first, I don't want to call it shot across the bow. This is their first submission of what they would like to do up there. We got a lot of work ahead of us, guys. But this one, Mr. Diskin pointed out to me, is really helpful. So, and I would ask anybody who's interested, by all means, go through this, blow it up on your computer, take a look at it.
Yeah, that's probably the best overview sheet right there.
Yeah. For us, this is a really good one because it brings the past
Yeah.
and the present together,
And it shows the steep slopes.
and the steep slopes and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
and the wetlands and all that stuff. So, I'm sure I'm going to be sharing this with the people who have spoken to me.
And if anyone needs copies of anything, I can get those. It just might take me a day or week, but I can get
Yeah.
copies to any resident that would like them.
Yeah. And just be careful what you ask, right?
It's-
We're asking residents to be understanding, but also to use this as a resource.
It's my job.
Exactly. So, didn't mean to jump into your town planning report.
No, that
but this
was
is where we're
it.
going.
That's
Yeah,
basically it. I'm
Yeah.
gearing up for this next meeting.
exactly.
Big step.
Easy.
It's 8:25. I'd like to,
I have two things in the planner's report
Oh.
to ask.
okay, I made myself a note. And, we covered it. Thank you, Mr. Diskin. I turn over the table. I turn over the,
I have a quick,
You're up.
two things. One is a very interesting technical question regarding the site plan approval for the Shop and Save park over there. They got originally an approval, I want to say about 4 years ago. They came back and got an extension maybe a couple of years ago. Have they come in for another extension?
Yes.
They just did, and that's something we'll have to take up quickly
At the
next
next
time.
Okay, thank you. And the question I had, and funny you mentioned this, because I went over there quickly to pick something up today, and I'm still expecting to see the ancillary building being built.
Yeah.
I will send you guys the draft of that, because if my memory serves me correctly, they got a site plan, then they amended that site plan.
Yep.
Then they extended that site plan,
Right.
and they're looking to do it again.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
But they were
I
going
will
to
send
put-
a
yeah.
whole, like, history of that prior to the meeting.
Way back then, they were going to put a 4 storefront ancillary building on the property. That might be a donut shop, a hairdresser,
Two
something.
other buildings.
Yeah, so they're gonna add a building to it. So that'd be great, because I'd be interested.
Yeah, because I
Excuse
want
me,
to
to
say
see
it
what
was
they wanted to
approved
do.
and then amended and then approved.
Okay,
and
Mr.
extended.
Diskin, your other question?
Yeah, the other question is a question from Mark, and I'd like to have requested Mark, and I could have called you on the phone, but didn't about this. The town planner presents a report on a monthly basis to the town manager, and you can find it on the website under all department head reports. I'm asking Mark if he could submit that to us every one meeting a month.
Sure.
When you update it for the town manager?
Oh, yeah, when I send it to
Yeah,
them, I'll send it to you.
CC us, that'd be
Sure.
great.
Yep.
That'd be very helpful, and that's
Yep.
actually, we discussed that 2 meetings ago, or last meeting, about take what the DPW sees as developable land in town, and what Mark sees as projects coming down the pike. It makes it easy for people who want to develop here to find space, which is not bad, but it also gives us an overview, and the townsfolk, an overview of what's going on. So, and I appreciate your comment of remaining open and transparent. It's the way we gotta do it.
We were doing it.
Yeah, we've been doing it.
Yep, I'll send out the reports on the break. At the
Thanks.
same time, I send them to
That'd be great.
them.
Should I go motion to approve the minutes, Mr. Chair?
Under old business, that's it. New business, we talked about this. Let me, if you don't mind. I made my own notes on my own agenda from Dash. We're good. I transfer, no.
That was fun.
Hey, I'm an old guy, I forget stuff. Okay, yeah, minutes. Thank you, by the way, for doing the work on the minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of June 22nd, 2021.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome.
Mr. Diskin, would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much. Move to be adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.